Okay, this is your spring semester final review. Okay. So here's the first one. Determine whether each expression is equivalent to x to the 4 over 7. First things first is you want to determine which is my index. So what is your index? 7. Your exponent is 4. Okay, so then in radical form, remember the index goes on the outside and your exponent goes on the inside. So let's look at A. A is obviously not our answer. B is obviously not our answer. C, it looks exactly as what we have here, so that's a yes. This one's a no because the index does not equal 7. Okay, the index here equals 2. Here, let's first combine these. There are 4 x's, so it's x to the 4, square root of 7, or 7th root. And this looks exactly like our equivalent expression. So this is a yes. Okay, pretty simple. Number 2, write an expression in the form a x to the m y to the n. This just means it wants you to put it in order. So I'm going to rewrite the problem. Negative xy squared times 2x to the 7 y to the 9th. Okay, so before we do anything else, there's always a negative 1 or a 1 in front of variables. So now let's combine. Let's rearrange it so that the letters are on the same side. So I'm going to start with the numbers. Negative 1 times 2. Next, I'm going to go with the x's because x goes next. Times x to the 7. Next is the y's, because it says y's are next, times y squared times y to the 9. Okay, now all we do is we're going to add exponents. Okay, but first let's multiply these two. What's negative 1 times 2? This is negative 2. What is x times x to the 7? If there's no exponent, it's a 1. So what's 1 plus 7? It is 8. So x to the 8. And you add these two right here. 2 plus 9 is 11. Okay, so your solution will be this. This, I would accept this as your answer or showing your work. You don't have to explain it as long as you know add exponents. Okay, you don't multiply. Next, find B. So first things first is this. You want to get rid of the outsides first. So first thing you do, the opposite of positive 13 is negative 13. This cancels out, and we're left with negative square root of b minus 2 equals negative 13. So this is my very first step. Okay, next step is I'm going to divide by negative 1. So this cancels out. The negatives turn positive. So this is step 2. Divide by a negative. So now we're left over with square root of b minus 2 equals 13. Step 3 is you square both sides. So this cancels out here. B minus 2 equals 169. And step 4, you add 2 to both sides, so we end up with B equals 171. Okay, so you have to know the steps in order to answer this question. So for this one, simplify. This is the same thing as number 2. First, we want to combine the same basis, so x to the 3 over 4 and times x to the 1/4 and y to the 4 times y squared. So here you just add the exponents. X 3 over 4 plus 1 over 4, y to the 4 plus 2, add exponents. So you need to know how to add exponents. This is x to the 4 over 4 and y to the 6. 4 over 4 is the same thing as x to the first power, y to the 6. Okay, I will accept this as your answer as long as it's step by step. Number 5. This one, all you're doing, factor, you are not multiplying or using the box method. Okay, you're not doing that. So when a factor, if you see a square here, your first step will be to expand. So this becomes x minus 3 times x minus 3. And then you put the rest x plus 5, x minus 3. Okay, and then you just factor out. So their common factor is x minus 3. X minus 3, their common factor is x minus 3. So we will take that out, x minus 3. And the leftovers stay inside. X minus 3 minus x plus 5. Okay, this will be the acceptable answer. This would be a full point. You don't have to write a paragraph. This is acceptable. Next, we write the expression where the exponent is positive. Okay, we don't want a negative exponent. It's positive. So first things first, all we got to do is we have 9 times x to the 5th, negative 5. So the power exponent of 9 is just 1. Since 9 is positive, the exponent is positive, it stays on top. It stays on top. Since this exponent is negative, I don't want to be negative. I want it to be positive, so I will put it in the bottom in order to be positive. So this will be your solution. Okay. So the explanation here would be negative exponent property. This would be the explanation. So select an ordered pair that is a solution to the equation. So this one, there's many solutions to hit this one. In your test, it will be multiple choice. So a solution could be this point right here, which is 1, 5, Another solution could be this one, which is 0, 3. The explanation for this one would be, for example, 1, 5 is a solution to the equation because it is on the line. That's it. I do need explanation for this one. Consider this right triangle. Determine whether each equation is correct. Select all equations that are correct. Okay, again, this one we went over it today. I want all 6 ratios to be here. So first, let's do sine A. Okay, sine A, cosine A, tangent A. Let's do this first. Sine A is 3/9. Cosine of A is, so before we do this is O, A, and H. Okay, opposite. Cosine of, so this is 3/9. Cosine of A is A over H, which is 6/9. Tangent of A, O over A, which is 3/6. Okay, now let's do sine of C. Cosine of C, tangent of C. Okay, right here, this is going to be the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse, opposite is 6, hypotenuse is 9. Cosine of C is A over H, which is 3/9. Tangent is O over A. O is 6. A is 3, which is the same thing as 2. Okay, so which one of these is correct? See, sine of A is indeed 3/9, so this is correct. Cosine of A is 6/9. This is wrong. Sine of C is 6/9. This is wrong. Cosine of C is 3/9. This is correct. So this is how I want you to show your work. Write all 6 ratios. Which quadratic equation reveals the vertex? Okay, so this was also in your quizzes and your study guide. The first one is your factored form. Okay, because these are your x-intercepts. This is also called x-intercepts. Okay, this one, we have an x squared in the front. We have an A, we have a B, and a C. So this is standard form. This one, we have an H and a K, which is a vertex form. This one has an A, B, C. This is standard. So to show your work on this one, I want you guys to tell me what forms each of these are. So my answer would be C, because vertex form is vertex. Okay. Number 10, factor the expression. Remember, this is called a difference of squares. Difference of squares. What's the square root? So 3 times 3, this one's x times x. Or this is 3x times 3x. This one is negative 10 times 10. So that means we do 3x plus 10, 3x minus 10. And this is your factored expression. Okay, your explanation could just be difference of squares. Acceptable. Write the recursive function as an explicit function. You need to know the formula. So once you get your scratch paper, you have to put your formulas. This is an equals a1 plus d times n minus 1. An, so my first term, a1, is 3. I also want you to label this as first term. And this is going to be my common difference, which is d equals 5. So now you're going to plug it in. So an equals 3 plus d times n minus 1. Sorry, not d, plus 5. And then you just do a first thing, which is distribute. This is 3 plus 5n minus 5. Combine like terms, 3 and negative 5, that is negative 2. So an equals 5n minus 2. Okay, this is a perfect explanation for me. You don't have to write a paragraph. You just need to show me that you know that formula. You know your first term. Make sure you label, call it first term. Make sure you call it common difference. And then you plug it in. I'll show your work. Number 12, the graph shows a quadratic function and a cubic function. Write all values that are approximate solutions to the equation. So this just means you want to find where they intersect. Okay. So this is approximately 1.x equals 1.5. This is approximately x equals 2.5. So your explanation here would be the x values where f of x and g of x intersect are the solutions. That's the explanation. So your answer would be x is approximately 1.5, x equals 2.5. And the explanation would be the x values where f of x and g of x intersects are the solutions. Number 13, select all equations that represents the graph of the function shown. So remember, this is a positive graph because both are opening up. So it cannot be A because it has a negative in the front. So cross that out immediately. Okay, next, before that, let's label my vertex. My vertex is -1, -9, -1, -9. So in vertex form, that will be y equals x plus 1. Remember, in equation, the x value changes signs, -9. Okay, so don't forget the squared. So it is C. C is one of the answers. Next, we want to find our x-intercepts. Here it is -4, 0. Sorry, it should be x equals -4. This is x equals 2. So in x equals -4, x equals 2. Remember, they would change opposite signs. X values change to opposite signs. So x plus 4 times x minus 2, which is D. Okay, this is also another way of thinking about it. X equals -4. I add 4 to both sides. This becomes x plus 4 equals 0. This is one of the x-intercepts. This one, x equals 2. Subtract 2. X minus 2 equals 0. So this becomes x plus 4, x minus 2. Okay, so it's C and D. Change opposite. So this would be a good way to explain it. You don't have to explain it with words. And then this one stays on its own. This is like a variable. So first things first, you divide by 7. We're going to rewrite the exponential form into logarithmic form. Divide by 7. So this is 32 to the x equals 7. So this doesn't appear in any of this, because if we change this into log form, we get log base 32, 7 equals x. Okay, there's none of these are the answers. So we're going to have to rewrite 32 into something smaller. So 2 is usually the easiest one. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. So how many 2's in total are there? There are 5. So it becomes 2 to the 5th. And now we bring down the x equals 7. Now let's change this into log form. Log base 2, 7 equals 5x. Remember, this is the exponent. Okay, so the answer is D. Okay. Number 15. Oh, yikes. Okay. Well, we have to find this right here. Find the height in inches. So this is the height. That's the height. I'm going to call it H. So now we label, just like what we did today. This is going to be my O, and this is going to be my hypotenuse. So you do SOHCAHTOA. Which one of these have only O and an H? That's right, you have to use this one. So we're going to use sine of 35 equals H over 117. So first, you have to get rid of the denominator. So multiply by 117. So we end up with 117 times sine of 35 equals H. So you put this in your calculator and you should get, so go ahead and do that. You should get H equals, approximately says round to the nearest whole inch, 67 inches. Okay. If you have any questions, go ahead, email me before your test starts. All right.